Does that tree have a soul?
Yes.
That tree has a soul?
I believe the trees have a soul. I believe plants have souls. I believe because they have life, it's proof of their soul.
Does anything supernatural exist? What do you think?
Does anything supernatural exist? I personally feel that man spends a lot of time trying to denounce the fact that it does. That question alone, like what is supernatural? Well, things that we can explain. So we have science, which is the reasoning behind the things that are supernatural. We develop theories and hypotheses to figure out how something must be. However, all it takes is one advance in our technological advances, one star that doesn't do what the other stars does, and then now everything is thrown out the window. So to me, the question alone denotes the fact that supernatural does exist, because what is supernatural? For there to be a contrary, there must be something that is already remaining. So before we knew about sacred geometry, we knew there was a symbol that was found in all these plants. And before we knew what pi was, we knew there was similarities between like the solar system and our neural pathways and how the eyes look and how the universe looks. So I believe supernatural, of course, life is supernatural, for the simple fact that 4% of the known universe is physical matter. The rest is energy. For the fact that the black matter in space, is actually matter. Of course, supernatural exists. The real question is, when will man begin to accept that? And I think by accepting it, you have to then let go of a lot of dogma, a lot of programmed thinking, and you have to allow yourself to really be free from things that maybe protect you from being great.
Okay, so you're saying supernatural does exist.
Yes.
Like life is supernatural.
Right.
Life exists.
Right.
What is the definition of supernatural?
I believe the definition of supernatural is anything that is beyond our own mind's ability to, I would say, to break down in a logical way, such as how one sperm can make it to the cervix. It has a 1 in 400 million chance of doing that, right? For us to be born, right?
Anything that is beyond
our mind's ability
to
comprehend.
Right. That is by definition. Anything that meets that criteria is supernatural?
Yeah, once it passes that line. So we know how babies are born from a conception standpoint. However, we don't understand the soul of a baby.
The soul. Some people say humans have souls.
Right.
Do you believe
I believe humans have souls because here's the proof. If you weigh me right now, in this flesh as I am, I weigh exactly 188.5 pounds. If I died right now from a heart attack and you weighed my dead body, I'd weigh 188.5 pounds.
The same as before you died?
Exactly.
Okay.
So what's the difference?
If you weigh the same before and after you're dead?
Something has changed. I'm alive, I weigh the same. I'm dead, I weigh the same.
Wait.
So what's the commonality?
Some people say you change weight after you die because the weight weighs something. Is that what you're saying?
No, the point I'm making is I must have a soul. The thing you cannot weigh. The thing that is the life in me.
Okay, so souls don't weigh anything.
Soul is
but
the person.
But they exist anyway.
The body is the body. The soul is the person in the body. The proof is that when I leave, the body is still here. It still weighs the same. However, it's completely different. There's no life. There's no enthusiasm. There's no vitality. So those things that are who you are, that is the soul itself. And the proof is in that. Let me see what you got.
So this is one example of something supernatural. Souls.
Souls exist.
Okay. Let's just talk about that for a second.
Let's do it.
I've got this confidence meter.
Okay.
And if you've got one too. If all the way to the right, black is absolutely yes, souls exist. And all the way to the left, white is souls don't exist. And let's put it under the table.
Okay.
So let me know when you're ready.
I'm ready.
Okay. Ready, here we go. 3, 2, 1. So pretty opposite end of the scales there. Let's put it over here.
All right.
So that's our current confidence.
Yes.
And let's go to figure out what the main reason why. Let's think of a reason why souls exist.
The reason why souls exist is because as a human, I was somewhere before I was here.
you were somewhere before you were here.
And I will be somewhere after I'm gone. However, I will not be in this body. So then what is the vehicle I am in if I am not in this body? I am in a soul.
What is the vehicle?
What is the vehicle? Because if you weigh me now and weigh me after I'm gone or after I've deceased, right, and I'm clearly not in the room with you, I'm clearly no longer in this body, where am I? And what is that thing that I'm in that enables me to not be here anymore? What was put into that embryo that became the baby, that was the infant?
What was put into the embryo? Okay, so if you could boil down a reason, the main reason you believe souls exist on like the green
Okay.
post-it
The main
note.
reason is, I'm just going to say life itself.
Life itself.
To me, life is soul.
Okay, I'll take that. And let's just, so how does life itself relate to a soul? Like,
The consciousness that is me
okay,
is the soul.
okay. Does like all life have a soul?
Does all life have a soul?
Uh-huh.
So that's a different question than do souls exist?
Yeah, how does life itself relate to souls existing?
So I personally think that if something has life,
Uh-huh.
that it has a soul.
So if something has life, then it has a soul?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because I believe that the soul is the proof of life.
If something has life, then it has a soul. Let's think about this for a minute.
Okay.
Is that true?
Then you have to define what life is.
Yeah.
Because then you can look at like cells, or you can look at whales.
Yeah. Yeah. Is there anything that is alive that does not have a soul?
In my world, nope. Some things are automated, like, the bacteria and under the microscope. Some people say that it's alive.
Yeah. If bacteria is alive, does bacteria have a soul?
Right, if it's alive. I don't necessarily think bacteria is alive as much as I think it has innate functions that it carries out.
Does that tree have a soul?
Yes.
That tree has a soul?
I believe the trees have a soul. I believe plants have souls. I believe because they have life, it's proof of their soul. And there's lots of research, as far as what negative energy and positive energy can do to plants and, how photosynthesis works to sustain its own life. It has to convert the sun's energy it has to convert the sun into energy. So it has a life to sustain. It has functions to keep it alive. And that's just my theory. And I believe the proof of a soul is the life that you have. Otherwise, what is it that you are? Are you just a programmed flesh bag? Are you just responding as like a Venus flytrap?
Yeah, so if you have time, let's like flip the timer again and you can ask me questions about my position.
Okay.
If you want to.
I don't know if we have time.
And if you don't have time, that's
I'm going to ask you
fine.
one good question, though.
Okay.
What is your proof that souls don't exist?
It's the lack of evidence that they do.
Mm-hmm.
And in my background knowledge, I think of life as an emergent property of, nature. Like life comes from nature. We are all evolved. All life has a common ancestor. And certain life is conscious. Some have brains, and brains are like minds are a property of brains. So if you have consciousness, then you can experience the world in that way. And I think you're mentioning something about how does something get into the embryo to become alive. I think consciousness is an emergent property of the brain, and nature through evolution allowed us to have brains.
Okay.
And just the embryo going into a full baby, and then even after birth, the mind keeps developing, and we fully get conscious.
So you'd say the brain is a soul.
I would say
There's
I
some-
don't need that word to
Okay.
explain consciousness.
Okay.
And I think once our brain goes, we go. So there is nowhere we go after we die. That's my position.
There are some cultures in Southeast Asia. I can't remember the actual, but they consider the brain to be what we would call the soul. And I think that's interesting because your body can be in a vegetative state, but your brain can they can still have brain activity.
Yeah.
I often wonder how long can the brain live? Because the body has 88 to 95 years. But what about our brain if it's disease free? It could very well live up to 200 if it's just
Yeah, if we had the technology to keep our brains alive
Yeah.
and fully functioning, then we could extend our life, our consciousness.
Okay, one more question. Do you think that that's possible?
Sure. Anything that's not against the laws of physics is possible, given the right knowledge.
O'Shea.
We just need to learn more about the brain and biology, how to keep the brain living.
Okay.
So there's possible to extend human life naturally
Yeah.
without invoking supernatural terms like souls.
Yeah. Okay.
I think that's the greatest hope we have of extending our current lifespan.
Yes, understandable. All right.
But thanks, Corey.
Thank you, brother.
Appreciate it.
You too.
Thank you.
I'll look out for that episode.
All right, thanks.